So can you hear it? The roar of moral outrage that's still reverberating through the chattering classes after last week's President's Club dinner. And then only event they screamed in horror. Yeah, so what? Young women employed to be attractive and flirtatious. Yeah, so what? Lots of working class women trade on their looks to earn a living. They're not victims or sex slaves. They don't need saving by middle class women from the Financial Times or anywhere else. Listen to me when I say men should never be allowed to abuse or to rape women. But the response to this event was farcically disproportionate. And because of it, hostess agencies are now closing. Girls will no longer feature at sports events, putting swathes of working class women out of work. So well done, you feminists. You took away a woman's choice and her right to work. The real tragedy here is there are battles to be fought against equality and sex scandals. Child grooming gangs, women being forced into marriage, girls having their genitals cut in the name of culture. Why aren't the feminists screaming as loudly about those injustices as they are about women who choose to use their looks to earn a few quid?
Well, normally, of course, I like to take a heavy subbing pencil to your intros, Carole, but I have to say, I think I agree with every single word and sentiment. I really, really do. We're speaking almost within hours of Formula One, as you rightly said. But here's what I don't understand. And I'm going to bring in a clip from someone who allegedly was at the President's Ball and was got at by Sky News, quite rightly, to talk about his associations with it. But if we can't have these young women at the darts matches and we can't have these young women... Well, how come the girls can dance the way they do on Strictly Come Dancing? Because surely that's it. How come we even have lingerie catalogues? These women, from my understanding, they choose to do it. They're not forced to do it at knife point. Presumably Amanda Holden, when she comes out for Britain's Got Talent or X Factor, whichever it is, and she wears extra... But again, I think she's probably in control. Let's go back to the President's Club. This is Sky News getting to the doorstop of Jimmy Tarbuck.
I never heard any bad language or insinuations to them, and I left after I'd done my bit. Tell them to go to London Airport and see hen parties going on if they want to see bad behaviour. It has to be both ways. It can't be all men.
I mean, Jimmy Tarbuck's changed down the years, hasn't he? Hell of a career he's got. Don't remember him looking like that. But finally, his central point is correct. I have no problem with, I think they're called the Chippendales. I have no problems with the girls who are getting married, going on a hen party, and the girl who's going to get married have to doing whatever she does as the male dancer. So absolutely, if that's what gets you through the night all your life, we are in a ridiculously puritanical, almost Victorian age.
And it is interesting. Most of the women who were talked to, who were hostesses at that event, all of them said they had a great time. None of them said they'd been harassed. There's been no complaints made to the hostess agency, Arista, by the hostesses to say they'd been
Remember, one
sexually
young woman
harassed.
claimed someone exposed.
Yes, she claims that.
Gamey.
You know, yeah, she can claim it. There's no proof of that, and there's been no criminal charges brought against anyone. But we've got to stop infantilising these women, because that they don't know what to expect. When you sign up with the hostess agency, in this particular gig, they were told to wear sexy see-through dresses, sexy knickers and high heels. Now, you know you're not going to a meeting of the WR when you go to a gig like that. And let's not forget, a lot of these women, as I said in the intro, they're working-class women who are using their looks and the fact they have grey bods to earn a living. What scares me about this and all this ban, those women, what are they going to do now? They may well end up going to sleazier gigs. They might well end up going to organisations that aren't monitored in the way these hostess clubs are, where they are kept relatively safe. And what really hacks me off is all these feminists this week who've been on Twitter. They have put women out of work and they have lost children's hospitals hundreds of thousands of pounds.
I want to look at this from the human angle here, and that is that on this point I agree with Nick, agreeing with Carole, that this has got a bit out of hand. Now, whatever was alleged at this President's Club dinner clearly needs to be looked into, and if there have been abuses and excesses, then they are serious and they need to be taken with the utmost seriousness. But when we look at the human cost, it becomes difficult to think that this has gone too far. So let's take an example. So not only the women, these women who've lost their jobs, but I wanted to focus specifically on the charities, because the charities felt so shamed in taking the money that was raised that they refused to take tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of pounds for children's hospitals. Now, there are children in intensive care units who are on the verge of life or death, who desperately need the attention and care. But because of somebody's, whether we like it or not, this is all they are. Now, they may be correct political stances, but they are, at the end of the day, political stances. Because of someone's ideological position on the rights of men and women, a hospital is turning down money that could save the lives of children.
So you would rather pander to the views of the feminist Twitter mob than save children's lives. And if I was a parent who had a kid at one of those hospitals, because there's 2 kids' hospitals that have given money back, I would be storming the doors and saying,
I've been asked
to read a statement. Can I read a statement from Great Ormond Street Hospital?
Sure.
I'm glad I do, because I'm almost too depressed to say anything else listening to you guys. This is from Great Ormond Street Hospital.
You'll get over it.
The expert medical treatment that children receive at the hospital will not be affected by the return of these donations. Great Ormond Street Hospital. Can I finish the statement? Great Ormond Street Hospital charity has not taken the decision to repay this money lightly. So basically,
30 grand they've given away.
So according to you guys, if men aren't allowed to keep groping women, children are going to die. Children are going to die. Working class women are going to be out of jobs.
You have taken what you want out of it, and you haven't taken.
That's what you guys just. You were talking about sick children.
That was really out of order.
Lives
no
being
one
at
said
risk.
that.
But that's
Come
what
on.
we
No one said
We're
that.
not talking about.
You know what? Will it make you happy if I say that?
No, it wouldn't make me happy.
Did you hear me
at
say
all.
that?
What did you just say? What? Just explain to me.
But did I say that?
You were talking about sick children.
No, but did I say that if men can't continue to grope women, children will die? Did I say that?
We're talking about a club.
I'm really actually quite outraged you suggested
We are talking about a club.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're even talking about the same story. The story I'm thinking of is a report where a reporter went undercover and discovered men groping women, making inappropriate sexual comments at a men's-only event.
When she was asked to explain what she meant by groping, do you know what she said? One of the examples she gave? A man putting his hand in the small of a woman's back. She regards that as groping.
Is it okay for a man to do that to a woman?
I wouldn't be offended.
If the woman herself that has allegedly been groped turned around and complained, then it's out of order. And that guy who's doing the perving or whatever needs to be shoved out of that club and double quick time, in my opinion. Okay, but if he's not doing anything wrong other than just having a look about, what's wrong? Especially if the girl knows that that's the sort of thing she's got herself into.
Hold on, let's just support a little what Afua said, because I know none of us condone this, but the Afua is right. The allegations are a little bit more than touching. There's suggestions of, as I mentioned, exposing private parts, putting your hands up someone's skirts. One teenage girl reportedly being so upset she went to her boss or line manager who said just slap his hand and tell him he's a naughty boy. So that is the sort of thing. So Afua is right to say that it was a far graver situation. But where I think that none of us are condoning that. None of us are condoning that. And look, you can help me with this because you are an expert in this field. You've almost written books about this. Isn't the idea of feminists to empower women? So if a woman does want to be a pit lane, a grid girl, or a woman does want to come out to start a darts match, and she does it, she's not exploited, she knows what she should be able to do it. Isn't that what it's
a choice?
Feminism is about men and women being equal.
Right.
So my issue, just apart from the specific allegations around the president,
actually, that's a very simplistic view.
The definition of feminism is the equality of men and women.
It's also about women being able to make choices.
The basic definition at its core, it's about equality.
Okay, so take it on from that.
The reason I say that is because this is about a context in which there is not an equal power balance in society between men and women. So the idea that it's okay, that working class women need to be able to be objectified by men in order to have jobs.
No, that's not what we're saying.
To have women
money. Not everyone gets the chance to go to Oxford or be educated at a private school.
It's really interesting that you keep saying this is only about working class women. When I've been working since I was 14. I've done odd jobs since I was 14 to earn my money for myself. And one of the jobs I did was waitressing, right? And I've never done hostessing like this, but the amount that these women are being paid, I think it's £120 a night, is about double or 3 times what I made with the waitressing jobs. I can see why young women who are students, or because they need a source of income, so not just working class women, would do this kind of work. Now, you are often, as a young woman in a workplace where you need money, in a vulnerable position where you have older, powerful, rich men in all kinds of ways trying to take advantage of you. And actually, just to put some context here, a survey in 2016 by the TUC found that half of women in the UK from all class backgrounds have experienced sexual harassment at work, and
we're not talking about the workplace, Jen. We're specifically talking about this.
This is really important. 4 out of 5 did not report it for fear of it having consequences for their employment. So when you say that these women at the President's Club were completely happy and they never reported it, how do you know?
Because the agency said so. They asked the girls.
That's my point, Carole.
What's your point?
If you're dependent on an agency for your income, are you going to go and complain?
Does it ever occur to you that some girls like the glamour of these events? They like the fact that it's easy money. The girls in all the papers today, the flag girls, said they enjoyed themselves.
Quick line from Phil, and then this part is over.
I've had ring girls work for me at my boxing events and that sort of thing. They've never, ever once complained to me. And I can tell you now, if there was anything untoward happened towards those girls, they'd go straight away. And if there was a police complaint to be had, then that would happen as well. So we're not condoning any of that ridiculous behaviour, and we are saying that women should be allowed to do what they want.